YouTube Music sucks, but mainly because of how it's attached to YouTube. It's time to talk about culture. Google used to be a big company, but now they're called Alphabet, and Alphabet owns Google, YouTube, and the former Google Play. Now, way back, several years ago, I joined the beta for Google Play Music, mainly because I used everything on Google. I used Google Docs, I used YouTube, I Google things. It was all a suite of Google. So I uploaded my music to Google Play. I think I uploaded my music collection to a couple places, you know, diversity. I can still go to any Kindle I own and play my music collection from 2012, which is a weird experience for me because it's like, oh boy, who is this person? Oh no, it was me in the past, ah! But I got Google Play and I found out I can use it on my phone. The problem is I don't do a lot of streaming on my phone. I don't like the constant charge of 3G. For the most part, I'm always under Wi-Fi, and when I'm not under Wi-Fi, I'm just going to a place with Wi-Fi. So I don't need my phone to be connected to the internet. So most of the time, I just turn that setting off. Instead of taking my music and downloading it to my computer and transferring it to my phone so I can listen to it. And I paid for Google Play. I think it was $6.99 at the time. That way I could download songs, I wouldn't have commercials, I could stream stuff in high quality, but you know, I was mainly there for the downloads. I could download stuff, no commercials. Real cool! Then YouTube Red rolled out, and I'm like, this is stupid, I'm not gonna pay for it. And I found out I already have it, because I pay for the Google Play. I'm like, oh, Google Play, which was actually kind of hard to find on my desktop because the name of Google's App Store is Google Play. The Play App Store. So sometimes it would take me a couple YouTube searches to make sure I get the right play. And even the buttons on the phone looked very similar. Well, I already had Google Red, and Google Red turned to Google Premium because branding? There's a lot of videos about how Google Red sucked or Google Red wasn't worth it. So I guess if you change it to Google Premium, then all of a sudden all those YouTube videos and criticism go away. Good job, Google. But my old price was grandfathered in. So I just paid $6.99 to not have ads on YouTube and also be able to download my music. And the app worked. Maybe not the best. There were sometimes flaws, sometimes I was frustrated, but I never felt like complaining about it or blaming the app. Unlike YouTube Music. The problem is that Google Play is gone. Alphabet looked at their little properties and say, oh, we have Google Music and we have YouTube Music. One of these doesn't need to be, but we like YouTube more. That's probably what it was. So they got rid of Google Play and it has all been rolled in to YouTube Music. And by rolled in, I mean deleted, and then whatever the stupid shit Google Music was is now it's taken over and it sucks. And YouTube Music sucks? It sucks. One of the perks of YouTube Music over Google Play is that Google Play had songs that were not licensed to use. For example, when I went to my mother's house and I wanted to put a playlist of music that she would be able to tolerate, because I love listening to music all the time, I looked for some Bob Seger. There is not Bob Seger on Google Play. There was not. So I had to settle for some David Bowie and some instrumental stuff, and it was awful. I would rather have listened to Bob Seger. You know, because dad rock. But Bob Seger is on YouTube Music, though it also might not be licensed there. The thing about YouTube Music is that it doesn't only pull from like music files or my music collection that I pulled from CDs, put on these hard drives, downloaded stuff to hard drives, and then uploaded to Google, which does not have Bob Seger in it. All of these I will be able to play all the time, I think, because they're mine, because I uploaded it and it doesn't share it with other people. But YouTube Music has access to all of YouTube. So if you put in the name of a Bob Seger album or Bob Seger, if it's not licensed by YouTube Music, then you can still like, oh, here's a video that seems to be music that has the same title you put in. Why don't I just play it for you? It's very likely that the publisher of Bob Seger songs is still collecting ad revenue from that video, which is why it can play on YouTube. So we've gotten around needing to license every little thing. Good for you, YouTube, I guess. So why does YouTube Music suck? The bugs with YouTube Music, like Google Play and like YouTube, the actual app, you can download music to your phone. Problem is, it doesn't seem to work on low Wi-Fi. Like, I have a corner of my house that I love to sit in my lazy chair. And YouTube Music, if I start it in that corner, it doesn't work. If I start in my room or close to the Wi-Fi, it works. It will start playing music. But for some reason, that corner with the lower signal strength just doesn't work. And it will start trying to load the track or connect to the internet or something. Eventually, if I turn off the Wi-Fi completely, it will ask me if I want to go to my downloads. I'm like, yes, go to the downloads so I can play music. But it won't go to downloads. It will keep trying to load something from the internet for some reason, even though I turn off the Wi-Fi. And it won't play music, and I'll have to restart my phone, and I'll not be listening to music for a half an hour. And probably listen to it on some other device. It sucks to dig through your settings. It sucks to dig through your settings in order to find the thing that force stops an application because it's doing something stupid. And it sucks to restart your phone for no reason. The dumb thing about things not working from my love seat is that everything else works from my love seat in the corner. YouTube apps work in the corner. Google Play works in the corner. YouTube Music does not. The other bug that several people have complained about all over the internet is multiple accounts. This is a longer story. So some background with Google accounts is Google rolled out this thing called Google Plus, and with Google Plus, it tried to turn your YouTube channel to your real name, and if you had like a brand channel like the Sugar Ray or Thought Ray, and you're like, no, I don't want that to be my name. I have a brand for that. I'm the Sugar Ray on the everything. I'm the Sugar Ray on Steam. I'm the Sugar Ray on PlayStation. I'm the Sugar Ray on Twitter. I want to be the Sugar Ray. It's my brand. Google said, fine, that's cool. And then it just made you another Google account, or 3. And in order to delete a YouTube account, it wants to delete your entire Google account. So several people are stuck with multiple YouTube accounts for no reason other than Google decided not to let you have multiple names on your account. So when Google Play was transferred over to YouTube Music, a lot of people had it transferred to the wrong account, including me, which wouldn't be a problem, only the YouTube account I'm logged into and the YouTube Music account are the same account when you're logged in on the same browser. You can't log into different accounts. So the wrong information is tagged in. No, I browse the internet as Thought Ray, but my music is under the Ray Richards account. So I either need to open a separate browser or just constantly juggle what account I am in. And I've done a little bit of both of those, and they were both annoying. It would be less annoying if YouTube Music browser page, you could log into one account, and the YouTube page, you can log into another, but you can't because they're connected. Google Music ran off tracks. It had audio track, but not all those tracks exist on YouTube for some reason. So songs that I liked are possibly missing. And I say possibly because, one, I can't look up exactly how many songs I liked on Google Play, but I'm sure there are more than 150, and there is only 150 on YouTube Music for me. YouTube Music is very unorganized because YouTube is and that brings us to the missing features. These are a lot of features that are standard to music apps and have been standard all the way since stupid Winamp players. They're things that are missing in YouTube Music altogether. Most songs don't have all of their data. Like, there's a bunch of data that your MP3s will have on there. It'll have your producer, time, genre, all of that stuff are connected to your music files if you look at an MP3 or look at it in like a good player or even a non-browser based player, but is completely missing on YouTube. Another feature that like people love and that I loved because it's interesting is the times played counter. There's no times played counter on YouTube. It doesn't exist. YouTube doesn't tell me how many times I watched a YouTube video. It just tells me the history of the YouTube videos I watched. It's not in YouTube's functionality, but it is standard on most music players. So I don't know how many times I've listened to Kesha's Animal on YouTube Music. I think it's actually 0 because I listened to it 100 times on Google Play. Another big thing that's missing is genre. Genre is missing on YouTube Music. It does not categorize your songs by genre. When you go into your library, there's two options: downloads and YouTube. And I don't know what the fuck that means. And then you can sort your songs from A to Z or Z to A, or by most recent, which I don't know what most recent means when my entire library was transferred over to YouTube Music a month ago. Is it most recently played, most recently added, most recently made? And if I want to like see what genres I have to see where I'm a little heavy, like, oh man, Ray's listening to the dad rock a lot, I can't, because genre is not upload, YouTube, or A to Z. It also does the thing where it alphabetizes the in band names, which drives me crazy. No, you don't. The Beatles don't belong in the T's. It's Beatles. B's. I'm gonna look in the B section for the Beatles. And separate from genre, because genre is very like important for knowing what music you're listening to, or if you're just a vibe and you want to listen to some prog rock after your dad rock, is the other organization features. Since the music files don't have that information, it just doesn't come up on YouTube Music. What genre of music is this? You can't know. Not only genre, you can't organize it by playtime, by producer. It separates them all out. It's very disorganized in your list, and you can't figure out where things are, and it leads to searching, a lot of searching. A lot of using that search bar to find stuff. Another bug, which I consider this a bug because it's stupid, is that with the music apps, you'll be able to report. And when you report a song, you can go like, oh, the track clarity is bad, this one's skipping for some reason, it just kind of sounds kind of dumb, or even like the streaming quality is kind of lacking with it. But if you try to report a track on YouTube, it gives you all of the YouTube bullshit. I'm not trying to report this Nine Inch Nails album because it harassed me. I'm trying to report it because it sounds bad. But you get all the shitty YouTube report things because it's connected to YouTube. A lot of people can defend this stuff. You know, YouTube is big. There's like a tetra stupid word amount of data that gets uploaded to YouTube every day. They can't keep up with all the things that's music and they can't organize stuff. So it's not their fault. They need a stupid amount of manpower in order to be able to organize it all. Then don't put it on your fucking music app, you pieces of shit! Then those pieces of shit shouldn't have put a fucking music app in it that can't be organized because they don't have the manpower or the knowledge to think that people want to see what genre they're listening to, or want to just listen to their rock music. So when someone searches dad rock, they might get a playlist, but the playlist isn't necessarily a music playlist, it's a YouTube playlist. So instead of seeing the album and the artist, you see whatever stupid upload name the person did it. The wrong title, squished in with the artist, uploaded by Cumman69. I didn't need to see all this shit. Why does not the list default to the official track that I would kind of rather listen to for this dad rock? And you could say, hey, there's another Google property called Google, and with that, you can Google the title of your song, and you can know what album it was from, what year, and all that shit. Well, that's great, but I already searched for it in my fucking music app. I don't want to go to Google afterwards because I just did the damn search. The information should be in the music app. And it all sucks because it's connected to YouTube. YouTube is this big, dumb, disorganized mess. YouTube lets anyone upload anything, which can be good, but it's really shitty for your music app, and really shitty when you look at two teams, one team that made a YouTube app and one team that is dealing with a pile of shit, and say, you know, let's kill off these because they're the same thing. People listen to music on YouTube. Why would we keep a music app? People are going to listen to it on YouTube. Well, that's because YouTube's fast and YouTube's unorganized, but it's a pile of shit. And people that like want to listen to music, they could look up the music video. They could go to YouTube for it, but that's a different effect than having an app and paying for it on your phone, or having a music collection and wanting to be able to see what is what in that music collection, which my real music collection is more than this. because of the songs that I've been introduced to and searched for on streaming platforms several years ago, I just stopped buying CDs because I already paid, well, first $6.99 a month, but now I'm paying $8.99 a month, which I think is just the price. So the need to hold on to my $6.99 introductory price is no longer leverage for me to stay. I have no reason to want to stay. I can still load music from my computer to my phone to listen to. I have an ad blocker. Probably the only functionality that I use with my phone is being able to watch a YouTube video while the screen is off, because apparently that's a premium feature. So either your phone is on watching YouTube, or it stops if it's off, unless you have YouTube Premium. The other bonus to that is you can download music for YouTube Premium. So I think the biggest problem with the YouTube Music app is that it is connected to YouTube. It does not work in lo-fi, li-fi, like I mentioned before, because I think it's trying to connect to YouTube. I went for a walk the other day, and for a walk, I'm gonna go off my Wi-Fi. And I didn't turn on my 3G or whatever. I just have music downloaded. So I went to, in my app, while I was on the Wi-Fi, I opened my downloaded music and I started playing it. And I started playing music and I went on my walk. And the music stopped. This is because, I think, even when you select a song from your downloaded music list, it still streams them even though it's downloaded to your phone. It is only always streaming music. If you open the YouTube app and listen to a YouTube video and start downloading it and go on a walk, it will keep playing as long as it's downloaded. Now there's a flaw where it will try to autoplay and it won't be able to because you're not connected to the internet. And if you play it from your downloaded videos list, it will play the next video in line and won't try to stream it. But for some reason, it's not this way on the YouTube Music app. And I know this because it stopped. I was listening to downloaded music, and it stopped going when I wasn't connected to the internet. For some reason, you have to be offline in order to play your downloaded music, or otherwise it stops because it is always streaming your music. And this is dumb for a lot of reasons. Some people download music because, like I said, they're off Wi-Fi, but also the Wi-Fi signal could be weak. There could be something that happens that makes it so that it like buffers. And if you have the downloaded music, you should just be able to listen to the downloaded files. But by default, YouTube Music only streams it. And I don't know if this is like a bug or an oversight, because, you know, YouTube, the actual app, does let you watch downloaded videos without streaming them. The biggest problem is because it is owned by YouTube and Google, and their goal is not to make a good music app. Their goal is to cover the base. Their goal is to harvest data. Their goal is to have you online as much as possible so they know what you're doing, so they can sell that to people and they can advertise to you. You are the product on YouTube, despite the fact that you may pay a premium to use it. And the thing is, they could fix all this stuff. And the bigger thing is, these problems didn't exist on Google Play. If I listened to downloaded music, it would default to the downloaded music. If I went off my Wi-Fi with Google Play, it would play the next available song that it's able to that is already downloaded. If I accessed it on low Wi-Fi, it would play music because it wouldn't be trying to stream things all the time and did not have to always connect to the internet in order to start working. Google Play would download things as you listen to them, and your downloads wouldn't only consist of things you tell it to download, but things you've recently played. So you can always go back to that song that you listened to once, you know, because it's downloaded and it's on your phone, even if it isn't permanently downloaded, and we'll make room for it in a little bit. Google Play worked first as an app. You could play it from the screen of your computer and it would just work. Its goal was to play music. I don't know what YouTube Music's goal is, but it seems to be to always be connected to YouTube, to try to function as YouTube, but somehow worse. The YouTube app works better than the YouTube Music app. The Google Play app works better than the YouTube Music app. And with me no longer working a job where I would want to listen to downloaded YouTube videos because I'm always by my computer and can connect to my computer, and the fact that they're charging me the starting amount even though I'm a day one adopter, I'm running out of reasons to want to pay for it. And YouTube doesn't care. Pay with your dollar doesn't work and isn't real. I've reported everything. Well, not reported, because report means something different on YouTube. So I've given feedback with everything that I have. And by the way, those feedback piles are probably going to go in the same feedback piles as everyone that's just abusing YouTube. So I don't know if it's actually going to get to the YouTube Music team. I don't know if there is a separate YouTube Music team. I doubt it, because YouTube Music sucks. And if there is a YouTube Music team, they're either severely hampered or, don't know what a music app is, don't know what people want from a music program. So you may say, Ray, what can we do? Feedback is useless because of YouTube. Pay with your dollar is useless because they won't listen to you. They've buried and closed threads of people asking for help with their multiple accounts on YouTube Music. They're just a company, Ray. Their goal isn't to make a good music app. Their goal isn't to make sure we're entertained. Their goal is to make money. And making a good music app or making entertainment is a side effect of them making money. As soon as they can find a better way to make money, they'll ditch it. As soon as having a monopoly on online video streaming doesn't work, then they'll close it down. Like Google Plus. Like Google Music. Because having the main goal of your economy be to make money instead of meeting people's needs or desires is problematic, and it is dumb and inefficient and makes these terrible choices very easy for companies and very baffling for users of those products. There are things we can do to improve it, but it starts with realizing that capitalism is kind of shitty at it. And I have several more videos about those topics and things we can do. This is also the point of the video where I would ask for money and talk about upcoming events that I'm doing, but all the events are protests and no one has a job. So follow my Patreon so I can give you free teases of things that I wish I could charge people money for if they had jobs. Thanks a lot. Give me a like, give me a comment about an annoying thing with Google Music. Go ahead and watch some other video I have about why capitalism is bad. This video is about YouTube Music. Don't put any of your pro-capitalism comments in there. Those go to other videos where I talk about capitalism. Leave a like if you watch this long because likes are nice. Comments are nice. I'll see you later. Christmas. And here's a few recommended.